It was a drama-filled game in the win over Maryland, and now a drama-filled week with the Penn State job being open. We'll break it all down coming up next on Big Red Wrap-Up. Hi everyone, I'm Michael Severe and welcome to Big Red Wrap-Up on Nebraska Public Media. A lot to break down tonight after a close win and a bunch of drama. We want to hear from you, the viewer, as well. You can connect with us on Facebook and X, our Big Red Wrap-Up page with questions. You can also email or text us at nebraskapublicmedia.org, and our phones are always standing by to ready to take your calls. At the end of the show, we'll answer as many of your questions as time permits. Now it's time for our sideline surveys. Last week, we asked you with Nebraska on the road, which other Big Ten game were you most likely to watch on Saturday? Ohio State had 32%, but the winner was Indiana at Oregon. The big upset by Indiana over Oregon, 34%. This week's question, is Coach Rhule going to Penn State? We're not beating around the bush with this question. Yes, no, or maybe. And right now, 55%, those are the right people, are saying no. So that's what you think about Coach Rhule. What is he saying?
I love Penn State. Met my wife there. It's my alma mater. Fan since I was born. I think, probably had a Penn State shirt when I was born. I love Pat Kraft. And really sad to see Coach Franklin go. You know, when you think about what he did for my alma mater, see videos of people like yelling at his kids, and like I just don't understand why in our country, like, well, now, like, coaches are villains. Like, you know how hard I worked in Carolina and the things that were said to me, or you know how hard I work here and some of the things that are said, you know, our coaches work here, how hard Sat worked last year. So I'm just really sad about that part of it. And people say, well, you make a lot of money. Making a lot of money doesn't make your kids feel good when they're hearing that. You know, make a lot of money. It's nice to make a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but still people. So I really respect James Franklin. Troy and I are in unbelievable relationship too. And Troy and I are in constant communication about this program and where we're headed. You know, I came here for two reasons. I love the community here and wanted to live here, and I love it here. And I wanted to rebuild Nebraska football. And, you know, Troy and I understand the steps that you need to take to make us Big Ten champions and national champions. This place is elite. And I want to be a great father, and I want to be a great college football coach. And so, you know, I'm not going to talk a lot about job openings when they come. Maybe it's been a while here, but this is what happens when you win. I've dealt with it. You know, we've won at Temple, and I dealt with it all the time. I've dealt with Baylor. I'm not going to talk about those things ever. I'm not going to talk about my contract here. I'm going to talk about the team. But yeah, I absolutely love it here, and I want us to continue to take the steps needed for us to turn this thing into a beast.
All right, we're here with former Husker Jay Moore and Husker Online's Sean Callahan. It's been all the way since Bo, when every year it was like he was talking about another team, or maybe there was rumors about Penn State or going to Kentucky or wherever else. Yep. It has been a while, but what are your thoughts about listening to Coach and knowing the job's open?
Yeah, obviously when Franklin's, the word got out Sunday afternoon that he's fired, well, here comes the news. And a little bit of, I don't know if I want to call it low-hanging fruit. Obviously, you got to be a little concerned as Nebraska fans, just because of you connect the dots. Yeah. Obviously played at Penn State. Kraft was his AD at Temple. Good friends. You see all that. And knowing that he loves Penn State, you got to think, if the job was offered, you know, would he potentially go home back to Penn State? Maybe, maybe not. So yeah, a little concerned, but I do know that he does like it here. Yeah. I do know he does want to be here, and he wants to see this thing through, and he wants to make it work. I truly trust that he wants to turn this thing around, and that's what he goes to places and rebuilds it. Yep. And I know that's what he wants to do here, and I know he's going to do everything he can to rebuild it here. And you know, I don't think the clips are in there, but you know, his comments about rosters and dollars and all those things, I think he's going to use this to his advantage. But I also know he's going to have a hard decision to make, and potentially he gets offered. Don't know if he will, but yeah, it's the timing of it is never good. But like you said, if you win and you have great results, not only himself, but we saw it last year with Tony White and some other assistants. Other teams are going to come get him if you're good and you're good at what you do. Other teams are going to take interest and try to pluck you away. So not surprised. The timing of it just isn't great, but I think we've got to work through this and just kind of see how it all shakes out. But I do feel confident that he wants to be here, and at the end of the day, I still think he'll be the head coach even next year at Nebraska.
And the way the schedule looks, and the way Nebraska legitimately could be 11-1 by the way the schedule's going, that would make it even more appetizing for a team to want to come get him.
Yeah, part of the evaluation for Matt Rule in Penn State will be how will this team do over the next 6 games, because they just fired a guy that had success there, and they're not going to replace him with a guy that goes 7-5. I mean, I think for Nebraska, if they continue to play well, I mean, this thing is going to go deep into November. They're not going to announce a head coach at Penn State in October. There's going to be a lot of names up for it, whether it's Kirk Cignetti, Marcus Freeman, Manny Diaz. I mean, you go down the line, there's a lot of names that are going to be in the mix for this job. But Matt Rule is arguably the one that makes as much sense as any because of the relationship to the athletic director and the relationship, obviously, with the school, being a Joe Paterno guy. And there is a certain long to kind of bring back that Paterno into their program.
Right.
And he's kind of that guy that aligns all those things. So that's what's scary if you're a Nebraska fan as you watch this play out.
I would say that, and I think we saw it here, going home is not always the best thing for you.
No,
it's not always. Sometimes it's better to go off and make your name somewhere else. But you go to Penn State, it's not a rebuild. You go to Penn State, they're going to expect you to win a national championship.
Yeah, you're given the keys to a Lamborghini or Ferrari and say, don't crash it. Other places he's been, Temple, Baylor, Nebraska, here's a beat up car that's been through some stuff.
Yeah.
You got to rebuild the transmission, new paint job, new tires, new brakes. And he's been really good at that. He's been really good at orchestrating a total rebuild. And I think he's really close to getting that car back to running at all cylinders here at Nebraska. But that's definitely not the case. And does that fit what he wants? He's played there, take his history there, take the relationships he has there out of it. Is that what he wants to do? Does he? And I still think there's other things that's gone on at Penn State. Why, to me, I want to know, you lost one game in overtime against a really good football team, and all of a sudden you collapse.
Yeah.
You lose at UCLA, and you just lost. I mean, you arguably lost to the worst. At the time, two worst teams in the Big Ten in back-to-back weeks, and Northwestern at home. I know your quarterback got hurt, but there's something else going on there to me internally that you lose one game, you're so fractured. So to me, I'd want to know the internal of that as well to see your culture of your program. But yeah, it's the time. Like I said, the time is not perfect, but if he did take the job, I can't blame the guy. But I definitely want him to be here as long as possible.
Sean, we talk about all the connections to Penn State. His wife has a business, right? Obviously, his kids are in school. His son's at Nebraska. And he moved his parents down here. I know his dad helps coach at a church where a friend of mine's kid plays.
Yeah,
so everything's here for him right now.
Yeah, they own 3 properties and a business. And, they are as deeply entrenched in this community really as any coach I've been around at Nebraska. I mean, you see them out and about at a lot of places. I mean, I have daughters that are the same age as his. They're swimming at my daughter's swim club. I mean, you see them around at places doing things. So yeah, their presence and his presence in the community is as strong as where like Bo Pelini was a guy that didn't really like the spotlight. Rule and his family enjoy, being a part of the community. Scott Frost, as we know, was not a big guy that liked to be out and about.
Right.
So that's what makes Rule unique. He's been as good at embracing Nebraska as any coach that we've been around. So
let's go to what got kind of buried. Was a great win over Maryland. They did something they hadn't done since, 2006 or what? No, excuse me. They haven't done it since the last time they won a game on the road where they had to score the last time. Goes all the way back to the touchdown that Tanner Lee threw to Stanley Morgan against Purdue, right?
2017.
In 2017. So they did that. But we're not talking about that. Let's talk about that now and talk about the offensive performance at Nebraska.
Yeah, well, it was just, again, we've kind of seen this through the first couple games, get off to a good start.
Yep.
Some mistakes happen. Obviously, we saw the interceptions by Dillon, the pick 6. You saw it against Michigan State, Michigan, but this team just has the ability. I called it just that next play mentality. Yep. Doesn't matter what happened previously, they say next play. We made a mistake, sure, let's get it fixed, we can correct it. We're never out of this thing. They keep fighting, they keep swinging. And you got to love that mentality and the culture of this team right now. Because going forward, I don't care if it's Minnesota, Northwestern, whoever. These games are going to be close. They're going to be tough battles, and you got to keep fighting and keep battling. They did, and you get make plays on defense. You get the kick returns on special teams, and then boom, you get a chance to go down and win on the final drive, and they do that. But the thing is, defense came and won it as well.
Yep.
Nebraska's done that before. The defense took the opportunity to stop Washington in that really good offense that Maryland had, and got them that fourth down play, and the game's over. And we just haven't done that in a while, and that was just is nice to see, reassuring to see that a lot of all these games that Nebraska's been in the past, they've found ways to lose them, and now they're starting to find ways to win. It's definitely something you can build on.
2 times this season, getting an offensive stop in the game. Emmett Johnson, what a game, what a performance, and we talk a lot about needing another back, but in the meantime, he's second in terms of total carries. He's like 4th in rushing. He's having a great year.
Yeah, how do you overcome a -3, have a running performance like Emmett Johnson, -3 turnovers for Nebraska, 176 yards, a career game. And Michael, I didn't know if there was a way Nebraska could get 200 sack-adjusted rush yards in a game,
right?
Just with the personnel. Emmett, I'm like, oh, he can get you maybe 140, 150, but they got 200. And if they continue to have this kind of balance and get plays like this out of Emmett Johnson, they're going to be hard to beat because teams have not really respected Nebraska's run. They play the safeties very deep and dare Nebraska to run. And finally, we saw them take advantage of that. And the 50-yard run was one of the better runs that we've seen of a running back, maybe since Amir Abdullah. I mean, it was an outstanding play in the open field. He made 10 tacklers miss in this game, according to Dana Holgerson, which is an outstanding number. I don't know the last time Nebraska had a back do that in a game.
And not to dispute his, I have 11. That's how many I thought he
Pro Football Focus had 11.
I think
Dana
it was 11.
did 10.
Right, he says 10. That's fine. You brought up Amir Abdullah. Amir didn't have top end speed either, but he did the things that Emmett did. What about the wide receivers? Because they're not getting talked about enough, I don't think, this week because they continually make big plays.
They do. I mean, Hunter, again, another huge game. Just the exact same tunnel screen play that we saw the week previously against Michigan State for the first touch on the game. And it's just, here you go. I mean, excellent. I mean, Pritchett, second level, just like he did against Michigan State. Great execution, except he has 2 shoes on this time. But, you know, again, back here, the fade route to Hunter, you know, the old head tap, as my son says, when you're watching these type of games, he gives you right there. So just good. And then you get Dane Key thrown in the mix, right? He makes a big one-handed play down in the slot fade for the game-winning touchdown. So you've had this. I mean, if Dylan maybe doesn't even catch his cleat on the ground, he might score there to get more air under it. But again, everyone's contributing. In years past, you just kind of had maybe 1 guy, 2 guys, but all your receivers are contributing. Tight ends.
Your tight ends.
Meyer, Harburg, big catches, big-time catches in high red zone. That's what you kind of thought this offense would become. You clean up those turnovers by the quarterback. I mean, they win that game much easily. But again, to have those weapons to take care of the things to do on the road and go on the road and win in that fashion, you can definitely build on that. Yeah,
the turnovers led to 17 points. So that's obviously a big difference. Offensive line, we talked a lot about adjustments. We're going against 2 of the best pass rushers in the Big Ten, and for the most part, they contained him. Yeah, Elijah Pritchett hurt his foot in practice during the week, and he was actually listed questionable pregame, so they didn't know if he was going to play. And I know he's an easy target because the last couple of weeks he's given up some plays, but Pritchett battled, gave up a sack, then they made the move to Corcoran. They held in there, and the sacks were not as bad as we'd seen against Michigan, and Maryland was a team that led the country or led the conference in sacks per game. So I thought that was, considering Dylan Raiola dropped back a ton, in this game and had the 3 turnovers, but they did a really good job of doing what they needed to do in the run game too. I think Emmett Johnson made a lot of that himself happen, but I think this game will give them a lot of confidence moving forward. You heard Holgerson say that too in the presser today. He said the run game was able to slow them down. He said he wished he kind of would have utilized this earlier in the year to help protect Dylan. So that's something when you get some good results like that, you can build off of that. And I would foresee Nebraska against Minnesota getting EJ home to his home state, continue to run that football to help Dylan and help this offense keep continuing to build like we saw against Maryland. Let's go to the black shirts now. It wasn't the greatest performance. There wasn't a lot of havoc involved. They didn't get a lot of contact on Malik Washington, but in general, they made some really good plays. They tackled a little poorly. That was the one thing that you really Washington did a good job to get them in space. Nebraska kind of sat back there in some deep zone coverages, passed it off decently, kept plays in front of them.
Not a ton of big plays. I mean, Malik Washington put some balls in some great spots that only his wide receivers could catch. So, I was very impressed with him. But yeah, I think Nebraska played pretty basic. 3-4-man fronts, did not bring pressures a ton. Hit them, got to the quarterback once where they were able to get to Childs 5 times in the Michigan State game.
That was a huge play right there by McCullough.
But again, you kind of pick and choose your battles. I think they kind of said, let's see what this freshman quarterback can do. Let's force him to beat him with his arm. And I mean, this was the most passing yards this defense has given up all year. But he was good. But I think you heard Coach Butler even said he should have brought more pressure. Get this freshman a little more flustered. But again, you learn and you pick and choose your battles. But again, you come out to this, you did enough things to win on the road. But now you just got to, again, next game mentality now because they're coming off a short week heading to Minnesota.
Well, they limited their big plays, and in games earlier in the season when teams did blitz him, he made some big plays. So maybe he was a good mixture.
Again, pick and choose your battles,
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Let's talk about Nwaneri and that defensive line. We saw the sack by Petchak there, but Nwaneri's really impressing in the thing he's doing from game to game.
Yeah, I think he's created, I believe, 14 pressures in the last 2 weeks, which is as good as any player in the conference. Now, John Butler was quick to point out, I don't get into the hurry stats.
Sure.
I get into the sack and the QB hits. So I think that's the one missing piece. Can they get and hit the quarterback more? But when they are rushing just 4, Williams Nwaneri has become a real weapon for them. And what you had hoped he'd be, and I don't know if we could have predicted this quickly that he would get going,
right,
especially after the spring where it appeared maybe he was off to a slower start. But he's given them a real weapon along with McCullough on the edge, and they did a great job. Maryland had a good offensive line, though. I mean, I felt like their offensive line stood up for a lot of the day and made Nebraska really work for any type of pressure they got. And granted, they weren't blitzing, so the numbers were against them a little bit.
Got to affect the quarterback. That's what he said, and you got to do that for sure. This week's highlights saw a lot of excellent special teams and some turnovers, of course, and the O finally getting it going in the second half. Look at that, look kind of excited right there. Look at that, a little anger coming from Matt Rule. Let's get into the first quarter. And the first quarter was Emmett Johnson coming out early and establishing the running game.
Yeah, opening play of the game. I mean, you're like, okay, it's going to be there, guys.
Yep. Get to the 4th down, though. Kind of a predictable call. I do not like that out of the shotgun. I do not like that play call, but
the play clock was running down, too. They almost probably could have called a timeout.
Called a timeout instead. But then, Malik Washington shows you his legs a little bit, mainly because Sean said he couldn't run it all earlier in the week on his podcast.
23 rushing yards, by the way.
I know. Here we go. Isaiah Hunter, that tunnel screen again.
Yeah, again, it was just perfect execution. You saw it. I mean, almost the exact same spot on the field where they ran against Michigan State the week prior, and they got that one dialed up.
Yeah, and then more, again, we get to see the replay. You mentioned this. A screen is everybody. It's the quarterback being patient, the running back being, and all the offensive linemen.
It has to be timed up perfectly. It's not, if one person's off, that thing is never going to work.
It's one of the hardest things to run. Here's Emmett Johnson again, another 12 yards on the run, came out early, was kind of showing what he could do. And then here's, you look at this play, and I've seen a lot of bad plays. I watched a lot of games. This one is one of the worst I've seen because the back judge should have seen this and overruled the side judge who threw the flag, because that's too obvious. He's knocking him down. There's no illegal contact, but that's either an OPI or it's no call. It made zero sense there. I'm on my soapbox. There's Malik Washington making some nice throws. You mentioned how good of an arm he has as he goes along. They ran the ball a little bit better than I thought they would run it. This is the first time that Maryland had a run over 20 yards all season.
Yeah, very surprising. But again, Nebraska, McCullough got a little too far upfield. Petchak has to kind of get off that block there, but it's just a little bit less execution by the D, obviously.
The first of 3 interceptions. That was definitely a bad decision. It was a little late, and also you had something on the other side that maybe could have gone to. We mentioned 17 points off of turnovers. There's your first 7. Nice throw down the seam by Malik Washington. Remember, this kid was just at prom not that long ago, and he's in there playing like this. And then we said this last week on Big Red Wrap-Up. Nebraska was going to have a big kickoff return. They don't kick the ball in the end zone, and Kenneth Williams gives you it.
The walk-on program still alive and kicking.
Yes.
Kenneth Williams, a Lincoln High native that was going to go to UNK before Nebraska called him late and gave him a spot, and he impacted a Big Ten football game.
Jay's going to show more of that play coming up. And here's one of those plays that, Dylan, we talk so much about him being immobile. That's not immobile right there. And what a catch on the sideline by Lennon Meyer.
I mean, his throw, his escapability, right? And he rolls, looks to his left, roll out to right.
Yep.
But yeah, this is one of those throws like don't throw it, and then like, oh,
what a catch.
What a catch. Like, good play, right?
Yeah, Mick says it was a Sports Center top play.
I mean, it's
he put both feet in, too.
Yeah, I mean, just right there. I mean, just man, that's you get a lot of the good with some of the bad sometimes. That play was elite.
I love it. I want him to throw the ball. I just give. There's another example of it. That is a perfect throw. Puts on the line of Dane Key in a place where only Dane Key can get it. More Emmett Johnson. We talked about what Emmett did all game long. That's a 15-yard gain there in the second quarter. And then more Dylan Raiola to the end zone. Nice catch by Isaiah Hunter. Is he the number one, Sean?
It's kind of a 1A, 1B, but yeah, I think
that.
his big play ability kind of vaults him, because Ja'Cory Barney could be the number one sometimes too.
This is inexcusable. This ball's got to go in the stands. It's got to hit one of your teammates on the sideline. You can't do that. Maybe the wind caught it a little bit in there, but that's the interception that you just can't make that throw. And then, of course, Maryland gets the ball again. A little drive. This is going to end up only being a field goal, but still giving them the ball back when Nebraska's driving to kind of put the game away a little bit. 31-14, I think the game's almost over at that point.
Yeah, that was a big moment of management, and they got the ball to start the second half. And
Yep.
I mean, this game was runs. I mean, both teams went on multiple 10 to 14-point runs before Nebraska finished it out with their run.
37-yard field goal there to end the first half. You mentioned Malik Washington comes back. This is something that's happened a lot to Nebraska. They've been losing the middle eight. They're 31-7 in these last three games in the middle eight, last four games. But Nebraska still won two of them, even though they haven't been winning the middle eight. That we thought was a fumble for a second, ended up getting reviewed. Wasn't a fumble. His knee was down, and then a nice touchdown run getting to the edge.
Yeah, that's a tough tackle by the corner. I think I don't know if that was Marshall Sierra. I can't remember. He's going to try to hopefully get one guy to trip him up, let your teammates get there, but a tough play to make that in that situation.
And Andrew Marshall's made that a couple times, and here's the pick six. Miscommunication.
You think, yeah, I mean, if whether, some people on the stem when he breaks out in, Mills being the young wide receiver, I'll break it down here though and just plays a little bit.
And it was man coverage, so I thought he did what he was supposed to do. Huge play here though. They're trying to drive. Nebraska gets the stop, gets the ball back. Sean McCullough with a great play there. And this kicks it off. This might have been the best run after the catch, even though he had the 50-yard run. He made so many people
He was
miss.
dead to rights right there.
It's incredible what he did there. That's what reminded me of Amir Abdullah a lot there. Big play down in the middle to Dane Key, and then more of Emmett Johnson. This is the 50-yard run.
Yeah, it was just good. I mean, just great blocking, gets on the perimeter, puts on the move, and just the finish. He looked like he was down a couple times.
Yeah.
And a really good job hanging on the football there. That guy came in with some speed and some
From behind.
and he was vulnerable there, but a good job covering it up.
And then he apologized to Hogerson and said, sorry, I didn't score. Field goal from Cunanan, he makes another one, makes it 31-27. Good decision there. That was weird because they end up having the delay of game there.
And they were going to go for it on fourth
I
down.
think they were going to go for it. They end up getting a delay of game, the field goal. That's fine. Nebraska gets the ball back. Here's the huge play to start this. You always have to have a big play to get it started, right? That could have easily been a sack. Instead, Linnemeyer breaks a bunch of tackles and gets a 20-yard gain.
Again, he shows his mobility, right? The escapability that we need to see more of, and just having more sense of urgency. And then again, just getting his cleat caught up. But again, Isaiah Hunter, just a guy you've relied on, and his big play mentality and his ability there shows again.
Huge play there. And then, of course, the rollout here, looking at the sideline. And here comes Harburg making this catch. The guy was a quarterback last year, and he comes through and makes that catch, which is incredible. And then the one-handed catch to Dane Key.
Very, very popular. The old kind of, you want to call it the slot fade.
Yes.
Or just, it's a pick route, essentially.
Yep.
But you can run it down there.
You
Execution was fantastic.
would have liked to have seen them run more time off in that situation. Just Maryland obviously comes out here with a minute and 8 now.
Yeah, but you got to get a touchdown,
gotta
so
score
you
that.
can't mess around with that. They do have it, but the Blackshirts stepped up. Right before they went out, the offense came over to them and all encouraged them to try to make a play. That was throwing the ball away, so they lost yards, had to make this throw, getting it down to make it 4th and 4. And this is just a poor throw. One of the few poor throws of the day by Malik Washington. It's behind his big tight end. Probably would have been a first down, and then Nebraska would have had to make more plays. But that ends the game, 34-31, two longtime friends there with the head coaches. Let's take a look at the stats and look at what Nebraska did really well in the game. As you can see, 193 yards, as Sean said, with sack adjusted, over 200 yards. Total yards, 453, something that Maryland hadn't been doing, giving up that many yards. But of course, it was the 3 turnovers and the points over turnovers that really made the game close like it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's just important. Those don't happen, or even minus the pick 6.
Yeah.
Vastly different game.
Players of the game, Isaiah Hunter, again, 5 receptions, 125 yards, 25 yards of reception and 2 touchdowns. And then Javid Wright, I mean, a guy who was playing part-time last year. He's in his 7th year, 12 tackles, 9 solo, 3 assists, the defensive player of the game. And to break down a couple of the key plays from the win, let's go over to Mr. Moore with Jay's plays.
All right, welcome into Jay's Plays tonight. One area we thought that Nebraska could get at Maryland was the special teams, especially in the kick return game. Maryland was not very good here, but Nebraska, Kenneth Williams takes a great job of taking advantage of this, as Mike Eckler's special teams have done so far through 6 games. But you can see here, Nebraska does a fantastic job is getting a hat on a hat. Everyone's taken care of. This guy just squeaks by, barely. But in special teams, a lot of times on kick return, punt return, you make one guy miss, you're gone. I'm gonna highlight over here, right here, Nebraska gets 2 guys on the ground. So great job here. But as we run this, he's gonna make this kicker's gonna try to fill here. The kicker wants no business of that. 54 does a great job of cutting off 48, no block in the back, gets a hands up. Excellent execution, and hats off to this young man. After the games, you saw the clips, he gets a scholarship in the locker room. But great execution. Nebraska took advantage of a Maryland weakness to get into scoring position. Now let's look at one of Rayola's picks, that pick 6. So Mills is down here into the field. So I think this is a miscommunication between Dillon and Mills. Dillon thought Mills was going to break out in his stem. Mills breaks back towards Dillon. Obviously miscommunication. You can run it here. This happens. Very, very young wide receiver. Not a ton of playing time. Just a simple misexecution. They'll get that cleaned up. Obviously Maryland took advantage of that situation, but Dillon has to be a little better. But Nebraska was able to bounce back and win this football game. Let's send back to Michael.
Thanks, Jay. Next up, Lauren Michelson was in College Park for the 3-point win. She will join us. As we go to break, more game shots from Herd at Sports. We're back in 2.
This means a lot to us because Emmett's such a big part of our team, and I mean, you can say what you want, it's just another game, but for this guy, he's been through the wire, and you know, it's like a Cinderella, not ending, but it's just like the story is crazy. You know, he's the way he grew up and everything, that he's been so overlooked by everybody, and for him to, you know, have a chance to go back there and make his statement, make his mark.
He made 10 humans miss. That's hard. He made 10 humans miss on, you know, on last Saturday. You know, I chart that. That's something that we talk about every week, and to have a guy that can do all those things and then get out in the open field and make people miss, you know. He was so mad when he went on that 50-yarder. He was like, "Hey, Coach, I'm so sorry. I got to go score. I got to score." I go, "Look, I'm going to give you the ball again. Just go score the next time you got it." He's a pro at it, you know. It's just part of the profession. I haven't talked to my agents about anything. I'm not going to. I don't care. I mean, our job, he feels the same way. Our job is Friday night trying to get our team ready to go play Minnesota.
But like, just for one thing, just as we move forward, like I said, I'm not going to talk about it very often. I'm certainly not going to talk about it like with anyone other than my wife, but Julie decides where we live.
Yeah, I mean they've asked, and those guys don't really understand, don't really believe what you read on the internet. So I mean, just like guys, he ain't going nowhere. He loves it. It doesn't really matter what he says. His wife loves it here. She got her business going and all that stuff. So even if he wanted to, he couldn't. So he ain't going nowhere.
All right, let's welcome in one of the rising stars in the business, Lauren Michelson joining us, sports reporter for KETV. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. You're way too nice, by the way, for saying that.
Well, I know stars when I see them.
Thank you.
Let's start off by, before you came here, you were in Lincoln, is that correct?
I spent about a year and a half in Lincoln after graduating. I won't tell you what school I graduated
What
from.
school did you go to, Lauren?
May ruffle some feathers, University of Missouri, but we're moving past that. I'm wearing the red a lot more. And then started at KETV about 2 years in February it will be. So it's flown by.
Yeah.
Lauren, let's just hop into obviously what happened Sunday afternoon with James Franklin. When you saw the press conference yesterday afternoon, what did you take away from Coach Rule's initial comments? A lot of stuff you can read into, obviously, his initial comments about Penn State, but what you thought stood out the most from his comments yesterday afternoon?
Well, I think two things can be right. Like, he can have this love and passion for his alma mater and always maybe have one eye on what could be a dream job for him. But I think he's authentic in saying he loves it here. He loves Nebraska. He's a program builder. He's doing it here. I think he can kind of have both his eye on staying, and I think he can maybe test the waters too. We don't know anything yet. I think he handled it as well as he could have, given the circumstances. He wasn't going to come out and say, I'm not going to Penn State. That's not the nature of college football right now. So I think he handled it best he could. Now, different comments from Raiola today, that's a whole different story, you know, but I think, you know, with where things are moving, he said the right things. The most interesting thing he said, which we've heard all week so far, is, you know, he can leverage this. Yeah. What can he get from Nebraska in having maybe other jobs eyeing him? Can he get more money to compete $30, $40 million rosters? Well, that's the question.
Do you think this will quiet down over the next few weeks, or as Nebraska potentially wins, does it just continue to ramp up more?
It's going to continue to ramp up. You know, Coach Holgorsen said it today, Rule said it Monday. When you win, other programs want you. It's just like programs and wanting players in the portal, right? Like, the more you win, the more you succeed, the more they're going to want Coach Rule. It may not only be Penn State. However, we don't know exactly what Penn State wants. Can Rule go there and win right away? We don't know. We know that what he's done here, but I do think this is going to be an ongoing conversation over the next couple weeks, and they have a very good chance of winning maybe every game the rest of the season. So definitely.
Sean, Lauren said 30 to 40 million. Can they bring in players valued that much to spend that much money?
Well, they were in a position last year to like get Isaiah World. And
sure.
I think that they could have gone a certain level, which was high. Then Oregon comes over the top, 200,000 or 300,000 more than that. And
we're talking about 20 million right now, right? Not 30 or 40.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska's probably, you know, with their rev share and NIL, probably closer to 20. And that would put them in a pool of probably like teams like 6 to 20, in that range of teams. There's a group of about 5 or 6, and Miami's in that group, Oregon's in that group, Ohio State's in that group, maybe A&M, maybe Tennessee. I mean, there's a few teams that are in a level that other teams are not, and a lot of that comes down to winning. Now, Texas Tech has found a way to kind of join this party. BYU as well, with some of the money they have out there with the support of the Mormon community. So I do think it's tough, because buying the most expensive players doesn't always guarantee anything either. And it can create problems if it doesn't go well, and we've seen that as well. I mean, Miami finally got it figured out this year. In the last few years, it has not been as pretty for Miami.
USC, the same thing. How was the trip to Maryland? How was the stadium? How many Nebraska fans were there? What was that like?
Well, it was interesting when we were driving up. We're there. They opened the gate only like 2 hours before for media, which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we're walking up and we're like, it feels sleepy here. It was fall break for the students there. There weren't a lot of students, Maryland students there. And then we get in and we're slowly seeing a bunch of scarlet and cream enter the stadium. And by the time kickoff starts, I mean, we're like, this entire end of the stadium is filled with Nebraska fans. And, you know, especially when we walked down into the field, the end of that game to watch that final drive, it felt like and sounded like a Nebraska home game. It was unbelievable. One of the coolest environments I've ever covered. I don't know if you think the same thing, but it was special. And the way they celebrated coming out of that locker room, Coach Rule sent his players back out in the field and said, go celebrate with these fans. I mean, if that doesn't show the growth and the mindset and the jump this team has made since he's been here, I don't know what does.
I had some friends at the game, and they got in their Ubers, and they said they wanted to go to the stadium on a Saturday afternoon. The Uber's like, what do you go to
stadium?
What stadium? What do you go to the stadium for on a Saturday afternoon? Ain't nothing to do over there. So that totally adds up when we saw the fan, 50-50, whatever you want to call it. But you look at the play of Nebraska through start to finish, the next play mentality, I think that's coming to fruition. You didn't see that necessarily last year, but just the evolution of this team, just having that mentality. You see the mistakes, 3 turnovers, but they're able to overcome those mistakes and just keep battling and fighting through those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I asked Rule about it post-game. I said, this no-quit mindset, the relentless pursuit of wanting to win at all costs, you have not seen, like you just said. And he kind of dumbed it down. He kind of just said, well, we're just better. We're learning to win. We have more talent. We have way more talent. And that mixed with the confidence you see from these guys is a recipe for success that we have not seen.
What are your thoughts on the schedule now for Nebraska moving forward? How much it's maybe changed with the outlook of some of these games and with Penn State and even UCLA continues to change, but it's about as favorable as you're going to see maybe for a team in the Big Ten.
I think it's favorable. I think games like Penn State that you were maybe really nervous about, you're not as concerned about. However, I don't think we have ever seen this much parity in college football, at least within the last decade. I mean, and the coaches talk about it every week, players talk about it every week. You let your guard down one time, you're done. And it's been close games. So you have to be mindful and be on your P's and Q's and understand that it can be any team's day, any single day. So I think they have a very good opportunity to go undefeated this next half of the season. Also not. I mean, it really could swing either way.
A big conversation point, obviously, the last 2 days have been the short week. How do you think they've handled that, getting ready for a Friday coming off of a Saturday?
I mean, last year I maybe would have said it'd be a concern, especially with some outside distractions. I'm not worried about this team being distracted. I'm not worried about this team letting outside factors bother them. It's been really remarkable to see how internal they are keeping every single thing. They speak as Rule speaks, they do as Rule does, and they're really locked into what is around the team right now, and I think they're gonna be just fine going into Friday, which in the past has not always been the case. And this is gonna be a tough game. We know how tough Minnesota is.
Yep.
Lost 5 straight. I mean, hopefully they can flip this around, but I think they have a chance to do it.
Yeah. Thoughts on Northwestern time? We haven't gotten that yet. Where would you like to see that game?
Well, so like the fan in me has one opinion, and then like the journalist in me has another. You know, the earlier the
11
game.
a.m.
Yeah, the earlier the game. Yeah, 11's fine, anything, because we only have a 10 o'clock show, but a little bit more time to get everything done is always a good thing. But I mean, you know, they keep winning, the better time slots they're going to get. I bet it's like an afternoon game.
No doubt. Lauren, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, we're going to go to break now. We'll talk some recruiting when we come back and the long, bizarre history of Gophers and Huskers. And what you see here is pictures, and we'll also do plays of the game. All right, big plays. We start off, of course, with the tunnel screen. Number 3, voted on you, by you, the viewer, 64-yard touchdown. Everybody doing their job. Great run back by Isaiah Hunter, putting it in the touchdown. And then this is the game-winning catch, one-handed catch, perfectly done. It's a little bit lower. Defensive back may have gotten to it, had to be put there. And then number 1, this throw down the sideline, Lindenmeyer getting his feet in and the touchdown. Great catch by a guy who was just a blocking tight end a year ago. All right, we're joined now by Sean Callahan to talk recruiting. Let's talk a little bit about how anytime there's rumors about a coach leaving, obviously it affects recruiting. What are you hearing?
Yeah, obviously for Matt Rule, a week of questions, which you're committed and to play for him as a 2026 or 2027. So it's going to be something now other teams will use and contact your guys. Hey, we know there could be some things going on at Nebraska. We would be interested if some things happen. So this will be something that will continue to be a storyline until there's closure with this situation. And unfortunately, that's just part of the business in college football. And coaches are going to talk to your commits on the chance that maybe there is a coaching change.
Real quick, Penn State, Nebraska, any games, any players there that they both were battling for that maybe?
Well, what's interesting is there's a couple of Penn State commits that Nebraska has gone out and offered. And, you know, they've gone out and offered some Wisconsin guys too. So Nebraska right now is being an aggressor on the recruiting trail.
Makes sense.
Making offers to kids that might be committed to some of these places. So we haven't seen anything happen with Nebraska's recruits directly, but we've seen more Nebraska going out and going after some guys that are targets with other schools.
Yeah, let's go now to Matt Rule's third cousin.
Yeah, so Jamal Rule, a Charlotte native, by the way,
I know.
is having an outstanding year at running back at Charlotte Christian. And, you know, they can only take one high school running back this year because they took 2 the year before. They looked at him and a guy named Brian Bonner out of California, and they had them both. And this was their number 1 guy. They wanted Jamal Rule. I mean, he's put up some big games this year.
He's a big kid.
And so I think they feel like he's a better fit for what the Big Ten is going to be. So I'm excited about Jamal Rule and to see what he'll be like in this offense.
All right, let's talk about in-state, Jet Tamala.
Yeah, we're talking in-state recruit each week, and today we go to Millard South, somebody that we're probably going to see on this channel here very soon as the number 1 ranked Patriots hope to repeat. Jet Tamala committed to Alabama, was once an Iowa State commit, switched his pledge. He will go down as the all-time best 11-man quarterback in terms of stats. Like there will never
passing stats,
right, with yards, touchdowns, etc. And the unfortunate thing is he's gonna lose out on a game. He's already lost out on 1 game for a forfeit, and it'll be interesting to see what happens the next couple of weeks. But Jet Tamala is the real deal. Ohio State actually kicked the tires, and they were trying to talk to him here in the past few weeks, according to our On3 people that cover that national stuff. But Jet's an outstanding quarterback. Alabama, very excited to have him.
It's going to be fun to follow his career. Okay, let's do last week's trivia. Has Maryland ever played Nebraska in a non-Big Ten game? And by the way, the answer was no. Our winner, Calvin Webster, he wins a copy of Sean Callahan's new book about the Huskers, the program, and Nebraska curated history of the Cornhuskers. This week's winner will be announced on next week's show. This week's trivia question: who has more national titles, Minnesota or Nebraska, and how many have they each won? Husker history takes us back to 1937. The first game is coached for Biff Jones. Minnesota came to Lincoln as the 3-time national champion, the only CFB team to ever do that before, three-peat. And Nebraska won 14-9 in a gritty game. Just 267 total yards. This is the kind of game that Jay Moore likes. Gophers had 199, and the Huskers won the game with just 68 yards. It's incredible.
I'm impressed with this footage.
I know, it's incredible. 1937 footage. This is one of the few wins in the era between 1900 and 1960, when the Gophers went 29-5-2 against the Huskers. But then from 61 to 2012, Nebraska dominated with 16 straight wins. But since 2013, Minnesota has won 8 of 11, including the last 5 in a row. Let's turn our attention to the Gophers as they come in on Friday night. I talked to you guys about this before the game. All the numbers, this is not a very good team. This is not a normal Minnesota team.
No, I mean, you've seen with the line how much it's changed since it came out on Sunday.
Yeah.
4-point favorites to now almost 9.5. But I think Nebraska's been in this situation before in this Minnesota football team where they stack up much better. But PJ Fleck and his staff do such a good job of orchestrating a game plan, muddying up, slowing down the game, doing some different things. And Nebraska just doesn't trust itself enough, makes some mistakes, and all of a sudden time possession is overweighted to Minnesota, the turnovers, special teams. Now I know this Nebraska team is very, very different than in years past, but it's just I still can't get myself to go there yet because I know how PJ Fleck is a very good coach.
Sean, I'll tell you, the last time I felt this way was UCLA last year, where I thought Nebraska had all of the advantages, and of course UCLA won it. So Drake Lindsey, what do you think about him as a quarterback?
Well, he's not mobile. No, I've given the not mobile quarterback jinx.
This guy's
every
really
week.
not mobile.
Bryce Underwood wasn't mobile.
Yeah.
Decided to run. Obviously, last week Malik ran a couple plays on Nebraska, but they are not running Lindsey at all, and they've had multiple offensive line changes. I think last week they tried their third combination on the line, and Purdue dominated the running game against them. So it's built like no other team, and I give PJ Fleck credit. He's found a way to get them to 4-2. A lot of what they've done is just being opportunistic and creating turnovers, and obviously they're throwing the ball much more than we've ever seen a PJ Fleck team throw it.
They had 30 yards rushing last week against Purdue. Minnesota team with 30 yards rushing.
That's just not like a PJ Fleck team.
Right.
I mean, in years past, they've owned the time possession. I mean, there's a lot of times they'll snap that thing with 3-4 seconds on the clock and they're running it. I mean, they just know how to do that. They've had the dominant offensive lines. They've had the really, really good running backs in the past and the great tight ends and wide receivers. Just they don't have the squad that seems to stack up. But again, this short week, they played a home game. Nebraska had to travel.
Sure.
And they're back home in their own bed. So to me, it's still, Nebraska still has to go there and prove themselves. They got to go still play a very, very good football team, and they have to play at a high level. Otherwise, they can go and stub their toe and get beat.
Let's take a look at the Big Ten standings. In the rankings, Ohio State still number 1. Indiana moves to number 3. Oregon is 8. USC 20. And of course, the Huskers come in at number 25. The top 3 also receiving votes were Illinois, Washington, and Michigan. Big games this weekend. Washington and Michigan battle in Ann Arbor. And here's one. Steve and I we have a bet on this one. 20th ranked USC heads to 13th ranked Notre Dame for a playoff eliminator game. And of course, as we discussed all night, Penn State parted ways with James Franklin. And that's our sideline survey. Will Matt Rhule end up at Penn State? Currently, yes, no, or maybe. 65% of the people say yes. Iowa voters have come in. No, 27%. 8% say maybe. That's surprising.
Very, very surprising.
Maybe it's our fault. Maybe we were telling.
Maybe too much. I don't know.
Giving them too much.
I'm on the maybe side, but I'm not like saying it's a done deal by any means.
Some other ones, Sean. Kurt Signetti mentioned a lot. Obviously, what he's doing. Pat Fitzgerald, who's now been exonerated and he's out there wanting a job. Matt Campbell, Iowa State. Many people have kicked the tires with him. And there's a guy named Urban Meyer who's just doing TV.
So reading between the lines from talking to people in State College and what Pat Kraft has said, he wants a coach that's going to be aggressive on the NIL side.
Okay.
That wants to do what Oregon's doing or what Ohio State's doing. Franklin wasn't really that kind of guy. So I have a hard time seeing Pat Fitzgerald being up to speed on doing those kinds of things. So no, I think it's going to be somebody that's a little bit more savvier. Signetti makes sense, but he's from Pittsburgh originally. I just don't see him leaving Indiana right now. I think he's going to be playing so deep into. They could win the national championship. Sure. I mean, it could be like was it Schlossnagel left A&M, and then he's going to take a job right after they almost won the College World Series. I mean, could Signetti do that? Maybe, but he strikes me as a Bill Snyder type that likes kind of being where he's at.
You know who's one who's sitting out there who hasn't coached in a while? Mr. Gruden's out there.
There's a few text message threads that threw out there, and I said I can't foresee that ever.
Do you think he'd fit in college?
I don't.
Okay.
NFL, he's been involved in NFL, I mean, his whole life.
Yep.
Just to recruit, I know the recruiting thing is vastly different than what it was. It's more towards, recruiting to
paying
NFL free agency. But the attention that you have to give the recruits and just that type of deal, I just don't think he fits that model. I think his knowledge of the game, his passion for the game, yes. I just don't think that fits what he's never done it. Yeah. I think to go take that job, you have to have some back record, some story to say, okay, yes, he's taken a program over like this before and done it. I just don't, there's not enough there There's enough substance there, I think, for Penn State to make that kind of
Well,
move.
we're seeing it in North Carolina right now. A guy who hasn't been involved in college
Correct.
goes back to college. Before we get to viewers' questions, remember it's been since 2006 that Nebraska won back-to-back home games. So
That's
I mean,
your
road
stat.
games.
Nebraska even used your stat.
Yeah, they used that stat. So road game. So you go into Minnesota. It's a short week, but I feel pretty good. The more I watch Minnesota, the better I feel. Can you? John wants to know why Nebraska didn't get penalized for running into the kicker on the block punt that Nebraska had. Well, once you block the punt, roughing is off the limits. You can do it. You can take out the punter.
Just like
once
on
you
a
get the
tip ball,
Yeah.
a pat PI, if the ball's tipped at the line of scrimmage,
Exactly.
you can go ahead and deck
Punter
the
doesn't get
receiver.
protected that much.
No.
No, they do not. They do not at all. Paul asked this question about the middle eight not been great. Nebraska hasn't been winning the coin toss. They've lost 6 in a row, correct?
Yeah, they're 0 for 6 on the year in coin tosses, which I'm not going to Vegas with the captains because they're losing 50-50 6 times in a row. I mean, you should almost win some money on that right there.
They picked tails this week. I do know that, and tails did fail for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people complain, of course, about the mobility of Dylan Raiola, but we did see a lot more of it this week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. He did a better job of pressing the pocket and then kind of getting back out. I'd still like to see him climb the pocket and move there. Sometimes he has the tendency to kind of bail out and turn his back to the coverages, so you kind of can miss some guys. But yeah, we saw the play to Harburg, we saw the play to Lindemeyer, both plays to Lindemeyer. He can do it. I'd like to see him climb and then go so he can keep his eyes downfield, but that's not necessarily the case when you have so much pressure potentially coming up the middle. But he has ability to do it. He just doesn't always do it, right?
Wes asked a question on Facebook. Down the road, okay? So if Rule was to leave, how attractive is the Nebraska job on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I mean, it's 8 or a 9 in my opinion, just because of the facilities, the commitment.
Yeah.
And if he were to leave, whatever NIL like flaws that they're battling as far as getting that money to get to $30-40 million that Rule kind of threw out this week.
Yeah.
I would think that they would try to address those or figure out ways to do what they have to do. But I can tell you there would be interest from guys. I mean, a Matt Campbell, a Lance Leipold, I think a Jeff Brom, maybe a Zach Taylor. I mean, there's a lot of names that make sense that you can just come up right now to sitting here that I think they would have a great chance at because the job is in a great position as far as where they're at with everything around it.
And Zach Taylor's a great name because the way the Bengals are playing, what's happening to them, having to bring in Flacco to quarterback, he's probably done there in Cincinnati. As much as I love Zach, but I think he probably is.
Yeah, the writing's kind of on the wall there it's just any head coach is going to struggle when you're starting quarterback.
Of course.
The whole franchise by this point keeps getting banged up.
Caller says, why do some players have a C embroidered on their shoulders and others don't? What does the C mean?
Captain.
They are captains. That is correct. Big shout out to Turner Corcoran, blocking downfield. He came in a tough situation and walked right in and played well.
Yeah, and I wonder now, Michael, what they'll do this week if he gets to start with the way he finished, and where's Pritchett at with his foot injury. But give Turner credit, a 6-year senior that has battled multiple injuries. And before the injury, I believe it was a hip or growing injury that he suffered back in 2021. He was bound to be a star.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back to his career start against Rutgers, his first career start, when he took over for Brendan Hymas, you're like, this guy's going to be really good. And he has always battled something, and I'm happy to see Turner getting an opportunity like he did on Saturday.
I know this is not a question about Latif, but I did watch Minnesota give a bunch of running yards to quarterback. Maybe Harburg gets a chance?
Yeah, we saw. They had
Sullivan.
Harburg tried to do something in the red zone.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love the instance because, again, I've said it on here. Again, you're 11-11 football. That just forces the defense to play that much cleaner, that much tighter in the run game. I mean, they should absolutely use it. If Minnesota struggles, 100% use Harburg in a QB run game, power, whatever you want to do, lead, do something to make them earn it, right?
Yeah, this week, both tight ends missed the block, right? According to Hogerson, he must have made somebody mad in the tight end room. That's what Hogerson said. Let's get your burning question.
My burning question is, can Nebraska do it 2 weeks in a row? As Michael Severe has touted all offseason, Nebraska's not won 2 back-to-back weeks on the road like this since 2006. They're never going to have a better opportunity, arguably, than what they're going to face here on Friday.
Emmett Johnson had one of his best, arguably his best game career last week against Maryland, going back home. See him to do it again. That'd be fantastic. Can you with the the strong run game going forward.
You stole mine. That's what I was going to say. Going home and getting revenge on a school that didn't recruit him, but also how will Nebraska handle all of the outside distractions of what happened at Penn State and Coach Rhule being rumored for the job. For our picks on how the season will end up and how the game will be this Friday, go to our prediction on Facebook and X and the Big Red Wrap-Up page as well. As a reminder, next week on TV will be Friday, October 17th at 7 o'clock Central on Fox. That's Big Fox. And next Tuesday night here on Nebraska Public Media, we'll recap the Minnesota game and preview the home game against Northwestern. That's on Big Red Wrap-Up, 7 p.m. on Nebraska Public Media. You can also tune in to Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and our website, nebraskapublicmedia.org. And if you got fond memories of big high school games, High School Classics is back for a new season, and a new episode drops on Wednesday. College basketball, believe it or not, is back Friday night, 7:30. Iowa State at Creighton exhibition game. And on Monday on Nebraska Public Media, we'll have softball all day. It's the NSAA State Championship games. Our thanks to Lauren Michelson. For Jay Moore and Sean Callahan, I'm Michael Severe. We'll see you next week here on Big Red Wrap-Up.